Welcome to Beyond Rockets. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Clark Dunn, and I'm your host. Get ready to enjoy some awesome conversations from Huntsville locals about cool work they are doing right here in the Rocket City. You can connect with us on social media at Beyond Rockets, and if you're interested in doing a podcast yourself, I'd love to hear from you. You can visit my website, beyondrockets.com today, or connect with me on LinkedIn at Clark Dunn. Sit back and enjoy this episode of Beyond Rockets.
Everything I liked except the way she talked to me every day.
This episode is sponsored by Yellowhammer Brewing. Yellowhammer is a local craft brewery serving Huntsville for the past 14 years. They are known for their premium craft beers like their T-Minus and Rebellion, but what you might not know is they also offer spirits, wine, seltzers, and non-alcoholic drinks. Next time you stop by their location, try one of their seasonal cocktails made with the Gemini Bourbon or the Yellowhammer Vodka, or try this year's big hit Pineapple Punch Seltzer. You can find out more information about Yellowhammer Brewery by visiting their website, yellowhammerbrewery.com, or visiting their tap room located at Campus 805. Well, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to have you all here today. Would you like to introduce yourself, and we'll get started there?
Yeah, I'm Matt Herring, and just before Jason has introduced himself, there's a third part of the team. Her name's Renee.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I'm Jason Cunningham.
Awesome. And so what we're talking about today with Method Mixology is a little bit different than what y'all do as a 9 to 5 or what y'all's background is. Give us a little bit of a rundown of your background, what you're doing, and then prior to kind of starting Method Mixology.
So I am the business ops and business development for a DoD contractor in town, Icon Research, and we do some radar technology, mostly for the Army. And then I also am involved at Summit Crossing with the church off of Governor's West. We're over there. Our family's been over there for a while, but I do a lot of the music, both with Summit students, which is where Matt and I work together a lot outside of, hanging out and doing Method Mixology. And then I do a bunch of music stuff on Sunday morning as well.
Nice.
mm-hmm. Yeah, he kind of led into it a little bit. I've been in ministry for 15 years since I got out of college pretty much. So I'm 37 now. Been at Summit Crossing Church as the student pastor for the last 8 years.
Wow. Yeah, and I actually met Matt probably when I was 12 or 13, maybe even younger. You worked with my mom at FCA, so like it's kind of a full circle moment to kind of, I think we ran into each other maybe a year ago at Gold Sprint. You were telling me a little bit about this, and then timing, I guess, has kind of worked out, so we were able to have you all on, and I'm excited to kind of learn a little bit more about how this came to be. So before we dive into kind of like the story of how this came to be, give us just a small little rundown of what Method Mixology is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it kind of started, me and my wife love to host people. We love hospitality. We love good food, and we love really good drinks as well. And Jason is that times 5. And Renee, the third person in our team, she's an unbelievable cook. She loves good drink. So we all are just foodie people, good drink people. And Huntsville's actually gotten a lot better, I'd say, over the last 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
But for a while there, when it came to like a good drink, you could go to a bar and maybe pay $12, $13 for something and it honestly not be that good. That's changed a lot, which is great. But we all in our kind of own ways would just make cocktails at our house and they'd be really good. Jason and I became really good friends 4 or 5 years ago, and he had, you can describe it how you had it, but he had a lot of recipes that he had created himself, and I don't know, 15 or 20 or so. And so when we go over each other's houses, we would just love to make good drinks for people, quality drinks. And eventually we just decided to host some events at our house, each other's houses, with just our friends. And the goal was, hey, it's honestly not as expensive and unapproachable as people think to make a quality cocktail. Where people really feel loved and valued by just having them over and having a good time, that it doesn't have to just be a basic drink. You make a really good cocktail. And so we wanted to educate people on that. So we bought a bunch of, shakers, all your cocktail bar set stuff, and kind of showed them the type of drinks you can buy, the spirits to buy, liqueurs, bitters, etc., using fresh squeezed juice, those kind of things. And so we'd give some education and history on spirits, and we'd teach people the different techniques with the bar tools, and Jason would have a couple different drinks he'd show them how to make and walk them through it.
That's awesome.
And yeah, that's kind of how it started. You got anything to add to that?
Yeah, for me, honestly, one of the things that started off the more passion side of things, if you will, was around 2020, 2021. Probably had a little more time on my hands at home than we normally would.
Yeah.
And
Cocktails get made a little bit earlier than they do now.
yeah, it's true.
Oh, we're not going anywhere. Are you going anywhere? Nah, I'll say I'll go ahead and have a drink.
And Jason's an extrovert too, so not being around people. He it was 10 being around people.
It was yeah, exactly right. And so I just started, number one, learning how to do some of that. Doing some of that well. So just making like a traditional old fashioned in a consistent way, because that was another thing too, that it was great to have people over, great to make stuff, but I also didn't want to be just like free pouring, doing some of this stuff. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Like maybe standardize some of that stuff. So that's where the recipe box, it was, my wife actually got me a gift that was just a box with a bunch of recipe cards inside it where I could store, and they had the little tabs where I could write the names of it and I could look them up. So that way it was a lot easier whenever we did host people or we did go to events. So just grab 2 or 3 things. Mm-hmm. Oh, these are the things that we need. It's got your proportions on there and everything like that. So you can make 6 drinks for your dinner party. They're all the same. They all taste good. You've had it before. It becomes a little bit more of this consistent type thing. And then there were some people who were like, hey, can you send me the recipe? Can you do this thing? Or how did you do this? Or people who were a little bit more interested, like Matt said, it can be intimidating a little bit. Like, how do you kind of break that down or lower the bar of entry for something like, not just an old fashioned, but hey, we're talking like a Mai Tai it has a little rum floater on top, right? It's like, that's too scary. I'm just going to order somebody else to do that. And it's like, it's really not as scary as you think it is. Yeah. So we started talking a little bit more, building off a model of taking some of the recipes and then being a little bit more creative with them as well, and trying to distinguish not just, hey, tonight's bourbon class and we're doing this thing. It's, hey, this is a fall bourbon class. I think that was one of the first ones that we did.
That's the first one.
And, right off the gate, we were like, we're going to make a rosemary old fashioned. And so it was like, the thing that made it different was rosemary simple syrup. And that was a very simple thing to, twist and augment or riff, if you will, on a traditional cocktail, but it makes it different. And then if you can do that at home, that's also something that it kind of sets you apart. It's really,
it's kind of like a party trick.
Exactly.
As people come over, it's like, you like old fashions. Well, let me actually make you this.
Right. This is the one that we make at my house. Yeah. And it's like, I love that. Equipping people to do that is great, because if we have recurring people is always good. I think the class has the environment that makes it really fun, because you get to make mistakes, number one. And then you get to see what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, which is also really important. And then you can be a little bit more selective and a little bit more creative because you have way more tools now.
Yeah. Kind of a profile.
Not just knowledge on, these are how these things work together, or, this is why you shake versus stir, but also knowledge of flavor and some of these other things that if you want to go and do some stuff on the side, like independently after different classes or whatever, you feel way more comfortable walking into a store going like, this is what I'm feeling. I'm going to make a bunch of these this evening, and, I feel confident that it'll be good.
Yeah, 100%. And so, I mean, obviously liking cocktails and liking doing these, like having people over and hosting it's stuff people probably listening, also enjoy that. When did this, like, who came to who and said we should actually make this a thing? And then what was the other person's response to that, of saying like, okay, yeah, like I enjoy doing this, but we should like I don't want to make this a real like thing.
Sure.
Well, first I'll say it's been very slow. But I kind of like that it's been slow. Like, it's been super organic, because it's all something we're in our own ways passionate about. And like for the events he's describing, you know, we did them for a couple years just with friends, and you could have told us we were just going to keep doing that, and we were good. Like it was just like, what's so fun about what Jason just described was just like that the people in the room were just everyday people. And so you'd have, like, when we were initially discussing it, we were thinking of people in our age range, you know, like in their 30s, high 20s, tend to be like really into this. But then the people that really wanted to come to the events was honestly all ages. So you had your like guy or girl that's a couple years out of college, that's like, I don't want to drink a PBR anymore. You know, like, and they want to become a little more refined in some of their drinks. And then what I was most surprised by is like a lot of empty nester age love, like just getting to learn new things like that. So that was cool. It's just like I think we would say in unison, we love just the everyday people learning how to make really good drinks was what got us really going with it. Because a lot of times when you go to a nice restaurant and you get a really good cocktail, it feels unapproachable to like recreate.
I can't have this
recreate that at home.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, that's not true. And so that's kind of the origin of it. But I'm curious what Jason will say on how we started. It's honestly kind of, I want to say Renee might have brought up the idea initially. But I don't. What would you say to that?
I'm trying to think as well, because I remember us going,
okay, we do an event first and then be like, oh, let's keep going, or was that
because we started getting it? So we did an event to see, like, you know, temperature of the room, right? Like, would you pay $30 to come and do this thing?
Yeah,
we had no clue. Like what anything. We didn't have cost models or anything like that. We were just like, how does this sound good to you guys? And then everybody was like, yeah, absolutely. And we were like, okay, cool. At least, you know, we can kind of cover for some of the things that we go by, and it'll be fun, right? It's very like, if you're talking like the other side of the world business, it's a kind of bootstrappy kind of thing. And so the second event was like, let's kind of formalize, let's get a flow, let's plan a little bit, let's maybe not necessarily define roles or, you know, swim lanes, if you will, but hey, Matt, really love the work that you put into the knowledge piece, the education piece. Love this thing here. I'm gonna take care of all the you know, class training, walkthroughs, stuff like that. And Renee is an awesome behind the scenes, like running basically the logistics of the evening. And we kind of just, like Matt said, organically found our way into what that flow looked like. And we kind of, I think after a couple events, we sat down and we
got a lot of good feedback.
Yeah, we're like, maybe we could formalize this a little bit. Maybe we could figure out a way to actually track things like cost and inventory, things that you do for a real business. And then we all were like, if we're going to do this, we probably need to actually start a business. Like, we probably need to make this a little bit more formal. Let's get better at social media. Let's get an actual business license. And then that also comes with pros and cons, because especially being in this business, and in Alabama, there is the ABC, which is
difficult.
Yes. Yeah. We'll say that. Yeah. I don't want to disparage them too much, but yes, it does. It makes navigating some of these things difficult. And honestly, that was probably one of the biggest hesitations that I had in the back of my head. I think
let's just get doing this for fun, not make this a real business, because it's so difficult.
Right.
Like it's that hurdle to get over. You're like, well, once we do that, then the rest is like, I got the rest. But that is just so it's like the people that come into the class. It's not approachable. Like, it's right. You feel like you can't do that, but then you're like, okay, once I'm over that, then everything seems to kind of work itself out a little bit.
Right. And that's where we started to have more and more, once we said, hey, we're actually going to push this thing, we started to have more and more conversations about the actual strategy of the business. What does it look like? What are we going to actually offer people? Because right now, obviously, we're not a liquor store. We're not not
a brick and mortar.
Yeah, we don't have an actual place that we can go and get a liquor license or anything like that. And so we started to strategize, and it was actually easier to strategize and talk about these services, if you will, or it's not even in like the catering. It's really more services, and like kind of party facilitation,
entertainment,
entertainment, that type of thing. And that actually became a little bit easier because we were formalizing things, because we were a business, because we had to pick what category, if you're going to file a license, all those other types of things. We had to make some of those decisions. And once we made it, it was like, oh, well, now we have a direction to go. We can start forming, strategies and stuff like that. And then we can talk about, what do we want to tell people? How do we want to engage? Those types of things. I mean, honestly, I think we all three were thinking it, but it was one of those things where it's like, do you want to commit? That type of thing. And then everybody was just like, no, this makes sense.
Yeah.
And with, like Matt was saying, with the events, we just had really great feedback. And then, especially in this town, everybody was like, do you do this for companies?
Yeah.
Do you do this for corporate events? Weddings, those types of things, or maybe more intimate events than like a wedding, but like a rehearsal dinner or something like that. So I think that kind of gives the overarching kind of where we landed now.
And so like as we sit really, I guess, early August, things are starting to ramp up a little bit with what y'all are doing on the branding side, the website, the social media. Talk a little bit about kind of where we sit today with the business and kind of what people can expect. This episode will be out the end of August. It's getting into the holiday season. It's great timing for y'all, great timing for this conversation to come out. Yeah. Talk a little bit about kind of where you are today and what this, the last half of the year looks like for Method Mixology.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we're just kind of ready to launch and people to, people to reach out and what's fun about the business, but also we're looking forward to seeing what direction it goes. Is it's very a la carte as well. So whether it's a corporate event, a birthday party, wedding, rehearsal dinner, those kind of things, it's really, starts with reaching out and then a phone conversation to figure out what are they looking for. The big pieces we offer is we're all about people having an amazing time at the event and it being very social, it being a great barrier of entry to have lighthearted conversation and learning about how to make drinks together that leads to better friendship. And whether it's with random people at your table or people well and you just want to go and hang out together, whether it's an event with people that you're already familiar with, like in the working world, or whether it's like, hey, we want to bring some clients in to have a good time, that kind of thing. All the above, but we really wanted it to be a good time, but also just as much educational. And if they wanted to, helpful for them in their home bar, knowing what to buy, the great ingredients, how to use the bar tools, how to make it. So that's the goal. We want to be fun in the event, life-giving the event, very social, but then they have some stuff they could take away if they want to.
Yeah. And practically to give some real life examples, some of the events to kind of complement what Matt was saying is we did an event for a real estate company that was just one drink class. So we just walked them through one drink, and then the rest of the evening it was free flowing. We were kind of like home bartenders, if you will.
Yeah.
And then if there was anything extra, like, hey, can we have a punch up top? You guys, supply all this stuff. And then the way that we partner with people, just practically, and this is probably maybe too simplified, but we're, in order to navigate the world of the ABC and stuff like that and make sure people are taken care of as well, is we give suggestions in a grocery list of, hey, you guys go equip your event or home with this type of alcohol, and these are the things that we're going to be using, and then we're bringing everything else, and then we come in and
the juices, the syrups, the bar tools,
the things that make it different, the things that make it fun, and the things that make it creative. And so those, as we get into this see, like you said, a busy season where there's going to be a lot of events, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for us to jump into those types of things. We are looking to engage through, like Matt said, it's just reach out. We have some forums, we have some things that people can talk to us about concerning their events and what they want. It can be very, very personalized, or they can just be like, hey, I have a thing for 2 hours. What do you guys think? And then we'll tell them, that type of thing, versus the biggest event I want to say that we've done is 30 people.
Oh, we did that. The one at Christmas, it was about 50.
Oh, yeah, 50. Yeah. So something like that. At that point, you basically say like, hey, most of the evening, you probably just want like kind of bartender type service. And then we'll do maybe one drink walkthrough, because equipping 50 people to all make drinks can be tough for sure. But that also is, I don't think we're necessarily scared of that. And in that case, it's way more catered as well. Like, we want to make sure that what your event is and what you'd like to do, we don't take over. Like, if it's a team building event, or if it's a celebration,
complimentary, or the event.
Right. So we want to be just a part of the evening that makes it better. Versus we can shoulder an evening if we need to, but that's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to make the experience better for everybody.
And so, I mean, as you getting into, I feel like learning the craft of making really great cocktails sometimes makes it difficult to go out and have a cocktail. Because maybe ways ways in which that could have been better if they would have done this. Is there a place in town or a bar in town that you enjoy getting drinks from and you think do a good job?
Oh, I like you asked this.
This is a good question.
Yeah.
So I think everybody can agree that Sip makes great cocktails.
For sure.
They have great people back there. They're super creative. And probably my favorite thing is every time my wife goes in there, she loves to challenge them and is like, I want like a coffee thing. And the guy's like, you got it. And, and he goes back there, brings it back. It's great every time, but it looks different every time, which is awesome. That can either be a good thing because Sip does it well, or it can be a bad thing because there's other maybe less equipped people to not do it as well. And probably some of the best drinks I've had over the last 6 months have been at Baker and Abel, the rooftop bar. They
change their menu a lot too.
They do a seasonal menu. Their stuff is really good, and they have some really cool riffs or like different takes on. I keep doing that. Riffs on cocktails, and I kind of like the creativity they have over there as well.
Purveyor is some of my favorites. Whenever Purveyor opened up, my wife and I would just go to the bar just to get a drink and dessert. It's great. All their, the Catacomb. It's awesome. I'm trying to think if there's any like under the radar one that you wouldn't be. It's changed a lot. If you were to ask us this 6-7 years ago, it would have been pretty bad.
There would have been nothing.
I mean,
it's amazing how many people can mess up an old fashioned.
And I think what's been and I bet you see it more when you're doing these events and as you've gotten this business going, is that with the influx of having nicer places to get drinks, people come in with a little bit more education than what they would have had 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I think like the level, the level, especially like within Huntsville, I feel like bourbon is just such a popular. Like, we were talking about it a little bit before we got started, just like the popularity of bourbon amongst government-related jobs. I mean, it's just it's part of it. It's scotch, it's bourbon, it's cigars. Like, those are like the things people love. But I think that also becomes, they get a little bit more highly educated on that, which makes your job a little bit easier. You're not starting at zero when you're educating these people. You're actually starting with some sort of background knowledge.
Yeah. You'll still be amazed, like, how someone makes their own version of an old fashioned at home, say, for example, or they have a couple restaurants. I mean, we've had, I don't want to put a number of it, probably well over 100 different people at classes for the last couple of years have been casually doing it. And most of the time, whatever drink they make is the best version that they've ever had. And they're the one making the drink.
Yeah.
So we're just telling them, this is the amount of ingredients, this is how long you need to stir, basic things that and quality whiskey to use,
Yeah,
stuff like
100%.
that. And so it does radically change really quick. Maybe they don't buy that old fashioned at that restaurant, or they are a little better at being, because every restaurant, even Chili's, says like signature cocktails
for
on
sure.
their menu now.
Yeah, I mean,
So you don't get scammed by it.
100%. And so, I mean, you obviously have a variety of different cocktails. You've made some pretty cool things. Give us your top
Let's go.
cocktail that is, more unique, and then the common cocktail that you can get anywhere.
Okay, you only have, how many minutes do we want to get?
I was about to say, where's my recipe box?
Yeah, he's gonna give you 15 different ones. You better watch out.
So the one I think that I'm most proud of, and it was inspired by so during the 2020, 2021 kind of ramping up of a passion of trying to be creative and make some of these cocktails, my wife would often do the same thing that she does at SIP and be like, I want an old fashioned because that's one of her favorite drinks, but I don't want it to be too sweet. And can it be, kind of like a salty type, a little bit of something like that? And I was like, that's weird, but yeah, we'll figure it out. And so I came up with probably my favorite drink, which is the chocolate covered pretzel old fashioned. And it's an old fashioned. It also has some Averna, the black version of the Italian liqueur, which has kind of like a chocolatey, bready kind of palette of flavors in it. And then throw in there some chocolate bitters and smoked cinnamon bitters, which gives you way more of the bread, like the pretzel kind of feel. And then you have either a sprinkle of like your coarse sea salt either on top of it, or I like to do half rim of a little bit of salt with an old fashioned.
Interesting.
And then just your traditional orange on top, which kind of lifts it, doesn't make it so rich. And it tastes like a chocolate covered pretzel.
That's awesome. So like, is something like that, I mean, obviously you kind of just pieced it together. Sure. You kind of just, open the cabinet, see what I have, see what I can do currently on hand. I mean, is that like, was that process to put that drink together? Was that a 10-minute like, how long did it take you to say like, hey, here's the things I think that will go well together, and then putting it in a glass that then actually comes out well? So, because like I feel like if I looked at the cabinet and my wife asked her something like that, I'd be like, and like I make pretty good cocktails. I would say, sure. Like I make a really, really great espresso martini.
Let's go.
I have an espresso machine at home, so like I can like really dial that in. And I make really good smoked old fashioned. Like I have a smoking kit and it's amazing.
Love it.
But like getting outside of like more traditional cocktails, the ones you could find at like any restaurant,
sure,
I would have no clue. I'd be like, this and this and this, and it might look amazing, but it would definitely not taste good.
Sure.
So like that process of actually like putting these things together, does it come more naturally to you? Or is it
well, something that has a lot of
okay. I do like the flavor and just the different palate aspects of a lot of these drinks. Mm-hmm. Like that's one of the things that does drive a lot of the creativity. But I will say some of it was just, necessity, breeds innovation kind of thing, where I was like, this is all that's in the cabinet. And so let's figure something out.
Yeah. Or like, this is something that like we've had in the cabinet too long. I need to figure out something to make with it.
You're speaking truth though.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's plenty of things I have in the cabinet that I'm like, why do I still have this?
Right.
I've had it for so long. I made one drink. I didn't like it. I didn't like I got this bourbon. Oh, it's terrible. It's in the back of the cabinet. And I continuously just move it from front to back thinking I'm going to drink it. And you're like, well, like I'll make something with that and use it.
Yeah, I'm almost positive I bought that bottle of Averna to make a black Manhattan, which is just a regular Manhattan, and then you add Averna to it, and that's basically it. Mm-hmm. It's not a totally common cocktail, but it's not uncommon necessarily. And so I was like, well, I kind of remember the flavor palettes there, and honestly, I'll do like, little bits of taste tests to get more and more familiar, because it's very helpful to taste. And we encourage this as a class too, is if you've never had this before, pour yourself a little bit, taste it.
Yeah.
You know, and some people are like, I've never had this before. This
So
tastes great.
I always thought I didn't like that,
Right.
and then I tried it, and I was like, wow, like, this is actually something I enjoy.
Yeah. And that can be very, very true of a lot of herbalish liqueurs. Think all the way from something that I think everybody loves, like a Saint Germain's, like the elderflower liqueur. It's always good. Basically makes everything better. At least I love it. All the way to something like an Aperol, where everybody goes,
Either I love it or I
no
hate it.
way, or yes, make all my drinks with it.
Better.
Right.
I was like, I love like I have a Negroni poster. Like I like it's my go-to drink almost all the time.
So
It's my favorite, and I love it because it's bitter. My wife hates it because it's bitter.
right.
Like stays as far away from it as possible.
And one of the things that, to that point, I stumbled upon other types of drinks in that area, which is the Boulevardier.
Oh, amazing! It's a great drink.
Probably top 3 for me in terms of like.
I had a smoked one of those
go
on a cruise recently, and it was amazing. I was like, this is the best. This is the best.
So good.
Yeah.
But that is a really great intro into how those things may not be as polarizing as you think they are.
Yeah.
Because if you're judging Aperol on an Aperol Spritz, then that's fair to judge that if you don't like it. But if you want to get into maybe deeper flavors and, contexts of making cocktails, there's a lot of ways that you can use those types of things.
100%.
So going back to, even just picking the Averna in that moment, I guess, was just like, this kind of has like a chocolatey feel. And I love chocolate, orange, and, salt.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that really isn't belonging in the old-fashioned palette would be like salt, right? So let's figure out a way to kind of combine these things together. I got a whole bunch of bitters. I love bitter kits. Those things can literally change so many different aspects of the cocktail. And another motivation for some of the creativity is my wife also got me those little cocktail kits that come in the mail. I forget what it's called. But either way, they don't send you any of the, alcohol or anything, but they send you suggestions on what to go get, and then they send you all the bitters. And if it's a mule kit, they'll send you the ginger beer in there and your limes, or that type of thing. But it's basically made to make like one drink or 2 drinks, something like that. And whenever I started to see some of the availability of different types of bitters other than your Angostura and orange that you see at Publix, that's when you can start to really expand without having to add more alcohol or add more ingredients. It like I said, it makes
it for a strong drink.
The barrier to entry. Yeah, something like an old fashioned, or even a Negroni, doing something a little bit different with some bitters might open up a different pathway to maybe a totally different drink that you make at home as well.
Matt, what's is like either like the most unique drink or your go-to drink if you're at a bar? If I go to Baker and Abel, I know that no matter what, I could get this and I'll really enjoy it.
I think I know that answer.
I get kind of 2 different answers to that. As far as like unique, like if I'm looking at a menu and I know it's a good cocktail bar I trust, if I need to experiment, I need to go if I don't trust, like if I don't know the bar yet, then I'll go with a basic one first to see how they do, a prohibition cocktail or something. But like at a Baker and Abel or something, I'm always looking for stuff. I'm not going to pick the thing that has 8+ ingredients. I'm going to pick something that's in the 4 to 6 ingredient range or less, and it just be, probably a spin off of whether it's an old fashioned or that. I'm usually attracted towards whiskey and rum, dark liquor drinks. But I'll go tequila every now and then. But I like it when I feel like the quality of your ability to make a drink, you have less to hide, the less ingredients there are. And so that I always would, if it's a good cocktail bar, I'll go towards that because that kind of shows off their flair the most.
For sure.
Yeah.
And thought for sure you were going to say paper plane, like right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Paper plane at Baker and Abel is...
You're right. At Baker and Abel.
I've become a pretty big fan of paper planes. If a friend of mine...
and it's an approachable bitter one.
Yeah,
for like people who don't like Aperol, it's got enough blended in where you can go for it.
I had a friend of mine that has a restaurant in Colorado, and he made a mezcal paper plane. And
Come on.
that was incredible.
My wife would love that.
Incredible. Like it was a little less smoky of a mezcal,
Sure.
but like paired together, I mean, it was such an easy drink to like. It was a great sipper. It was amazing. I was like, okay, I'm hooked. And so like I mean, we've done the full gambit. I feel like we've given people some places to go in Huntsville to get good cocktails. We've given you a business to hire to come in and make good cocktails. Where can people find you? Where's the best place for people to reach out, to connect, to learn more, to book you for an event?
Yeah. Well, first, Clark, Jason, I think we should make a decision whether we should, just hearing Clark's passion for cocktails, whether we should hire him as a 1099. Yeah, I was to be on rotation to make some drinks. I feel like you'd have a good time.
Yeah, for some support, especially we need to scale up for some of these.
There you go.
I got kids, Clark. Yeah.
Methodmixology.com is the website, and then I think the Instagram is method.mixology.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Perfect.
And so right now we're still working on populating. We actually did a more private event at Matt's house where we were able to take a bunch of pictures. We filmed the actual creation of some of these cocktails, including the chocolate covered pretzel old fashioned. And the way that people can start to get in touch with us is, number one, check the Instagram. We'll be putting up stuff there, and eventually the goal is to put up events that they can sign up for without necessarily having to
Book you.
coordinate. Yeah, and have a little bit more exposure that way. That's a little bit further in the future, but right now you can go to the website. There's an email. We will work with whoever you need us to point us in the right direction. We got forms. We got all the things that we can do to make sure that the event is awesome. And the website points back to the Instagram as well.
Yeah.
And so we'll have some more information, like who Matt and I are, and Renee, and some of the things that we want to do, what our goals are, and kind of how a evening would go as well. And then, like I said, on the Instagram, it's more about like exposure for, hey, these are the fun stuff that we do. Like, I think we filmed that old fashioned. We did a paper plane, something like a Cosmo, a little bit more generic, but less. It's kind of the drinks that you don't normally make at home. I think a Mai Tai as well. With I think I mentioned like the little rum float, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
we did a bunch of that content in order to kind of slow roll and gain a little bit of momentum on the socials there.
Awesome.
Am I missing anything?
I think that's it. You did a great job.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll have everything in the episode notes, links to everything, so people can find out more information there. But I appreciate y'all being on the podcast, taking the time to talk us a little bit about your backgrounds, the how Method Mixology came to be. I think it's an exciting time. I think that the timing is perfect. Like I mentioned earlier, as people are getting into the holiday season, reach out, connect, and learn more about Method Mixology. But I appreciate you both being here.
Yeah, absolutely, Clark.
Yeah,
Shame
thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Beyond Rockets. Don't forget you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen and on YouTube at Beyond Rockets. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Beyond Rockets to stay up to date with new episodes as they are released. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.